Good afternoon to you, snooker fans, and welcome to this latest episode of the 15 Red podcast with myself, Scott McCarthy, in County Tyrone in Northern Ireland, and I'm joined from London as usual by Kellie Barford. Good afternoon to you, Kellie.
Good afternoon, Scott. How are you doing? Nice to join you on this Christmas week, our last episode of the year. Yeah, plenty's gone on since our last episode. Let's get straight to it, eh?
Yes, and we we must begin, although I haven't rather not for reasons nothing to do with Alfie Burton, but we'll not get into that. But we must congratulate Alfie Burton for what, by all accounts, was a tremendous win for him in the shootout. I mean, from the accounts I've heard, he shouldn't even have been in it, really. And it was only by sheer serendipity that he managed to be there, and then he ended up winning it. But wonderful. And the move to Blackpool, I gather, was very popular.
Yes, well done, Alfie. It's been many, many years in the making. I'm sure even he thought that the time had passed him by, that he was going to be a ranking event winner. But we can all say what we like about the shootout, but it was fantastic for him. And I think going back to Blackpool, it was great entertainment. It is the proper home of the tournament. I went I went when it was in Blackpool in the early years of it, and it's a fantastic venue. And like we say, it was a little bit storybook with Alfie winning it. He wasn't in the tournament until on the morning. We've all heard the story now, I'm sure, that he was in his swimming trunks, ready to go for a swim, and he got the call from World Snooker. So he hot-footed it up the motorway and ended up with a trophy and £50,000, and he'll be back on tour next season. So I know it divides opinion, the tournament, but it was really good entertainment as well. I thought the crowd were fair. It wasn't they weren't over the top like they have been in other years sometimes. And it was just a really enjoyable spectacle. I thoroughly enjoyed this shootout more than most others, I think.
Yes, you know, I'm no authority on the shootout, as you know, but I gather that maybe because the venue was proper and historic in a sense, it sort of restrained the crowd to the extent that can restrain shootout crowds, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it was very historic venue for snooker. I think at least one or more World Championship finals were played there in the 50s. And
Yeah.
looking at old pictures from the 50s, the venue doesn't seem as if it's changed that much, actually. It's still perfect for snooker, a venue in the round. And I would love to see something a bit more than the shootout. I think it would have to be a one table event, but I would love to see something a bit more prestigious, shall we say, held
Yeah.
there, because I would make every effort to go there. It's a great venue, and to have a regular tournament there, I think would be really good for snooker, I think. And but yeah, really good few days of the shootout. Great to see some new faces doing well. Stuart Bingham came very close, but runner up this time. So a good tournament for him as well, I think. I think everyone has to take the shootout with a little bit of a pinch of salt. There is an element of, can anyone win it? I don't think quite anyone can, but fantastic Stuart runner up, and Alfie, the celebrations at the end as well. I think it was just, 30 odd years of a release really coming out. Biggest day of his career, and I'm sure that trophy will stand very proudly on his mantelpiece for the next 12 months.
Well, it certainly will, and he, he's the sort of snooker player that you and I like. a sort of man that loves the game in that sense, Alfie. We plugged away for, you say, 30 odd years without much success until this week. And but he still loves the game, and that love has been reciprocated. So well done.
Well done, Alfie. Yeah, great to see. And I can't think of anyone really who wouldn't have been pleased for him. And excuse me, quite amazing, really, that he was the 20th reserve for the shootout. So he wasn't expecting to get in, but I think he replaced Alex Clenshaw, who himself was a top up, but he then withdrew himself on the morning. So it really was fairy tale stuff. So, like we say, well done, Alfie, and yeah, here's to many more fairy tales in our sport. But from the shootout at Blackpool, we were back to the serious stuff this last week in Edinburgh for the Scottish Open. It's always one of the really good events. A few players, we have George, Ding, and Ronnie didn't enter it as they make other plans this time of year. They live abroad. So we had those three didn't enter. We also have Neil Robertson, Mark Williams, David Gilbert, and Jack Jones withdrawing. So we were a little light on the ground for some of the big names. Jack Jones has a bad hand, I believe, or a bad shoulder, but not. I think the others maybe wanted to just start their Christmas early. But it was a big chance for some of the players, Scott, and as we saw last night, Chris Wakelin, after he was a former shootout winner, which started his run off, he's now upgraded that win to a major ranking tournament, and absolutely delighted for him. Well done, Chris.
Yes, especially after his, recent setbacks, not getting through the UK qualifiers, which as a consequence meant he missed out on Master qualifications. So, so very good and played extremely well all the way through. I mean, particularly the semi-final against Matt Selt, I was very impressed there because, there were a couple of times when, to be honest, he let big leads in frame slip, but he didn't actually let that affect him. And, given the quality of his opposition in the final, Chan Bing Yu, he was absolutely superb. To, uh, to really dismantle Chan Bing Yu 9-2. So well done, Chris. Thoroughly deserved. And again, the same sort of thing you and I keep coming back to. Proper snooker man who appreciates the sport for what it is, not what he can get out of it.
Absolutely. I think you've got to admire people like Chris who've been plugging away for so long. I remember many years ago, and I can't even remember how long it was now, but it's got to be a long, long time ago. I went to the old Southwest Snooker Academy in Gloucester to watch a PTC when they were held back there, and
Yeah.
that was the first time I'd ever either heard of Chris Wakelin or certainly the first time I'd seen him, and he was only pretty young then. But I remember thinking, oh, this guy's a good player. He's one to, I'll remember his name for the future. I'm not sure I really thought that all these years on, he would finally be, a top 16er and a major contender and now a big winner. But it just shows all these years of being a journeyman, really. I think he was a bit better than a journeyman, but, like Alfie Burden to an extent, snooker men, they keep plugging away, love the sport, and they are having their day in the sun at last. And with Chris Wakelin especially, you feel that he could go on now and not saying he's going to be world champion or anything, but he certainly has a lot to give, a lot more to give, I think. And you could certainly see him winning more tournaments in the future.
Certainly, I mean, he had that run for the International Championship final last season, so and only lost to Ding there. So So he is a very good player, seriously good player. And it's like, it's a curious little thing to mention, but I don't know whether you saw the TNT interview that he did. Rachel Casey was doing, what's your snooker highlight of the year with all the players. And he said, Mark Allen making a maximum against me at the Crucible, which, you thought that that odd, but for a proper snooker fan like this, you can understand where he's coming from there. So that just proved to me that, as you say, he loves the sport and, we appreciate the opportunities he's been given.
Absolutely, and I'm so pleased for him. Like you say, he's had a few family problems and illnesses in recent times. So, he was nearly another one of the withdrawals. Really, could easily have not gone to Edinburgh. In fact, his little daughter was in hospital during the week in Edinburgh. So, there's a lot more to players than just being on the table. There's real life out there, and
Yeah.
sometimes things are more important than snooker. But Core, I bet he's glad he stayed in the tournament now and made the most of it all. So absolute credit to him. And funnily enough, talking of Chris Wakelin, Mark Allen making the 147 against him at the Crucible, which was one of the highlights of the year. Chris was also on the receiving end of when Ronnie made the two maximums in Saudi. So yeah, he's seen a few maximums up close this year. So
Uh,
maybe he'll be in the right seat next time, and he'll be the one to make one. So, but yeah, what when your opponent's doing something at the table, what memories he's going to take away just from being in the other chair for those special occasions.
yeah. I think Dave Hens insisted after that with double McCraig.
Yeah, so yeah, but all good fun, and yeah, whatever has gone on for him this year, he is. I think the Wakelin household are going to have a good Christmas now. I think they probably would have done anyway, just knowing that their health is improving. So yeah, well done to the Wakelin family. His little girl was one at the weekend as well. So
Yeah.
everything is all good for them at the moment, and I'm sure Santa will bring a nice extra little present for little Mia after this win over the weekend. But
Yeah.
a word also for Chang Bing Yu. It was he has come to more prominence this season. He's been doing well more in recent times, and I think the general consensus seems to be that because he's had his mum over for the last 2 or 3 months, making everything seem, quite normal. I'm sure she's, cooked and done all his favourite things and made him feel as comfortable as possible, so that he only has to go out and play. And boy, have we seen him! Did we see some good snooker from him during the week? I remember he beat Mark Selby in the quarterfinals, which was absolutely tremendous performance. You couldn't see, if I'm honest, I didn't see anybody else except Selby winning the trophy once we got to the quarterfinal stage. But Chang played so well to beat him. And then he beat your local man, Mark Allen, 6-1 in the semis. And he was tremendous. Whether
Yeah.
Mark was playing well or not. He played fantastic snooker and would have beaten practically anybody in that semi-final. And it was a disappointment that he didn't quite bring that game to the fore in the final against Chris Wakelin. But I'm sure he'll learn a lot from this experience. And, he's proved now that even at such a young age, I think he's only 22, 23, he's got a lot more in the tank for the future. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of him because his long potting, especially, is absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, you can't fail to enjoy watching him play. I don't think so. whatever the future holds, let's hope that he's, playing good snooker and we get to enjoy it.
Well, yeah, well, the other thing for me, when Stephen Hendry starts praising someone, you know to pay attention because if there's one thing Hendry does not do, it's praise players willy-nilly. So if Stephen starts saying he's good, he's good.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's the highest praise you can get, I think, if Stephen says something good about you. So, yeah, I think he's definitely one to watch for the future. And yeah, he made a 147 in the UK qualifiers, I think, in that judgment day. So
Black with the rest, you remember. Dear
that
me.
was the one, yes. So yeah, this boy can play. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he brings. And he's another exciting Chinese youngster. We've got a few of them now. I mean, Wu Yi's, I think the future's bright, massively bright for him. Zhao Tong is the world champion, and who knows? Okay, I think his season's been a little bit on the ropey side here and there, but I think there's still so much more to come from him, and I don't think the Chinese have quite taken over. When they're playing, the class of '92 is still going strong. We've got Jordan Kyron. I think we've got a fantastic mix going into next year.
Yeah.
And all these different winners so far this season, lots more to come. And in the new year, I think the Masters will be the first big one up, and that's going to be as exciting as ever.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're at the Masters for a couple of days, aren't you? But no, it's tremendous, isn't it? The sort of blend that we got and the variety of winners. I mean, I think either 12 or 13 different winners from the last 12 or 13 ranking events. I mean, it really is extraordinary. And as you say, Mark Selby up to the quarterfinal. I text you on Messenger and said, Selby looks unstoppable. That was literally the word I used because, 12 matches in a row, you couldn't see anybody beating him. But Chan Bang Yu was absolutely extraordinary. And then, of course, that wonderful performance against Mark Allen. I mean, notwithstanding my obvious disappointment that Mark was beaten, when I saw the score when I got home, I was out with family on Saturday night, but when I got home and saw the scoring that Chan Bing had done, you couldn't fault it. I mean, he was absolutely superb. And actually, before that match with Mark Allen, I actually said to my dad that I thought Chan Bing was actually the favourite on the form of the week because, he played some tremendous snooker during the week.
He did, he really did. And like I say, I felt at the UK Championship, although he did lose in Judgment Day to Stephen Maguire, he made up for that in the first round. He beat Maguire in Edinburgh. And he just went on this run, just playing brilliant snooker. So yeah, lots to come from him, I think, in the new year, especially I think if Mum is still going to be around looking after him, maybe he was a bit lonely. He didn't have the team around him before, but just having his mum there and some home comforts, I'm sure it's done him the world of good. And yeah, it's all been lovely to see.
Well, Al McManus made the point, you know, it is obviously second chance territory. I mean, we don't have to go into all that again. Clearly, you know, he appreciates, he realizes what went wrong and he now appreciates what he has to do to stay on the right side of the line, if you like.
Absolutely. And I think Chris Wakelin and Alan made good points that, he did crossed the line of what is wrong, very wrong, before the ban. And but I don't think it was his doing. I do believe that he was coerced majorly into doing it, and
Yeah,
I'm happy to draw a line under it and move on.
yeah,
I think some people didn't want to forgive Xing Tong, and he didn't fix the match. But I think unless you've done something like Liang Wenbo, for example, and he should never come back. I am ready to forgive some of these youngsters who I think were led down the wrong path. It wasn't their own doing, and I do believe in a second chance in these cases because
yeah.
they were young, and like I say, I don't believe it was their fault. And maybe I'm naive, but let's get these players back. They're very fine players, and we could have lost someone like Chang Bing-yu for the future, which imagine all that talent going to waste. So let's put the past behind us and carry on enjoying what they have to offer, because watching Chang Bing-yu last week was a joy and a privilege. So I
Yeah.
want more of that, please.
Yeah. So, I mean, we really are blessed to have such extraordinary talent. I mean, everybody talks about, the atheism, as a gold mirror and so, but in terms of actual fan, enjoyment now, I would say we've never been in an era like this, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. I just feel so blessed and privileged to be a snooker fan at this time, watching all these great players. I mean, I started being a fan back in the early 90s when Stephen Hendry was winning everything. And as a Hendry fan, I thought that times were never going to be beaten, because my favourite was winning the Worlds every year. We had the great Hendry Jimmy rivalry. Then the class of '92 came along. They were heady days, to be fair, but I think now, with the sheer variety of good players, great players, and all different winners, I just think it's fantastic time to be a snooker fan, and bring on 2026. I just think, yeah, exciting times ahead. One person we won't be seeing as much of in 2026, though, Scott, is Leo Scullion, who he refereed the final last night, and it's turned out that that's going to be his final match as a referee. Before he's retiring, he'll still be around as an assessor, but 26 years on the professional tour, I think he's earned the right to go out at the top.
Yes, I think so. And also, it rather reminded me of, you remember the first Scottish Open final? It was John and Marco Fugan, and Leo was the referee, and Leo had I think, some sort of health problem, if I'm right, before that. And John,
He did.
in his runners-up speech made some sort of reference to that. So very appropriate that he sort of bowed out at the Scottish Open. And, you know, although we've only seen him on the TV, I think he made his Crucible debut in 2010, I think. So we've only seen him, I think, in more recent years on the bigger tournaments, but obviously 26 years on the tour as a whole. He's probably, to an extent, him and Jan were probably the last link to that older, more, shall we say, firmer, old-fashioned style of referee. I think to an extent we'll sort of miss that.
Yes, but he's a genuinely great guy, and yes, he did have a cancer diagnosis a few years ago, which meant he missed a year or two, I think, on the tour. But when he came back and was given the Crucible final. Apparently, he was listed as going to be doing the Crucible final, but then got the health problem and had to go away for a while. But he then came back and refereed the 2019 Crucible final, which Judd won against Higgins. So he's possibly done the greatest standard of Crucible final there ever was, which I'm sure is a fantastic memory for him. But yeah, thank you, Leo, for all your years of great service to the snooker. And still will be around as an assessor, so I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him around at tournaments the odd time. He's always been good pal to me. We would sometimes have a drink at Sheffield if I saw him around. If he'd got the next morning off. So that was always nice. Always nice to see him around. Such a friendly character. And yeah, that's it really. Well done, Leo. You know, if anybody deserved to put the feet up a little bit more now, it's definitely him.
Yes, I mean that 2019 Crucible final. I mean, you've been going there for many years. I've been watching for many years, but we'll never see the like of that. Especially that second session. I mean, that was just extraordinary, wasn't it? So, you know, the fact that he's got that as a memory, the fact obviously that he's done at least two Scottish Open finals in his home country of Scotland, you know, there's some great memories for the referee too. And, you know, maybe it's a good opportunity for us to say not only thank you to Leo, but thank you to all the referees because, you know, the referees and the officials do an awful lot of hard work behind the scenes. And, you know, the Kellie viewers and the fans just see them in the white gloves and so on. But, you know, I'll tell you that the referees do an awful lot of work and they deserve to be recognised almost as much as the players.
Absolutely, Scott. We can, you know, just the sheer volume of tournaments these days, that a lot of the referees are always out on the road or, you know, they don't get home for very long before they're off again. So they deserve a massive thank you and well done from us. You know, I think snooker fans are a pretty decent bunch on the whole, and they do recognise and appreciate the hard work that goes in from the referees. You know, we always say the old saying that you know, if a player isn't doing very well, he does get to sit in the chair for half an hour, whereas the referee has to be you know, on guard for the whole match, really. Concentration levels have to be, you know, so good. And, you know, Leo, all the team, and there's many more. There's many more new referees these days than we've ever seen, and they're all very needed. And you know, they do a fantastic job. And I think just with you know, Jan, Leo now, we've had Paul Collier retired from reffing, Brendan Moore. I think we're going to see a few new faces who might get to do the Crucible for the first time next year. So yeah, that'll be very exciting for them. And you know, people like Tatiana, Desislava, Olivier, they're still in the mix. And you know, Rob Spencer, all these good, solid people who we're blessed to have in our game. They love the sport, or else they wouldn't put those hours in. But yeah, thank you one and all for all the hard work that you do.
Yeah. While we're on the subject of thank you, given that this is our last episode of 2025, I'm sure on behalf of Kellie as well as myself, we'd like to thank you, the viewers and listeners who listen to our meanderings and musings on this wonderful sport. We do really appreciate your comments and consideration for us, and we look forward to engaging with you more in 2026. What a time!
Absolutely, Scott. And just a special mention for two of our listeners as well. Brian McGovern, who listens every week without fail, and he often leaves some nice comments for us. So a special thank you to Brian. And also to Liz Blackburn, who she messaged me last week. She'd got a couple of our episodes to catch up on, and she just sent me a private message saying that she really enjoys what we do. And yeah, so thank you, Liz. I'd not been very well last week, actually. I've had a bit of that flu thing that's been going around. But Liz's message really cheered me up. And yeah, it's nice to know that we've got some listeners. A small little community, really, but everyone seems to speak like they enjoy us. So yeah, Scott, we'll keep going whilst well, until people say they don't want us anymore. Then I guess you're all stuck with us for a bit longer.
Indeed. And can I say to you, Kelly, thank you very much once again. I don't take you for granted at all. I know we've both got busy lives in our own way. So thank you very much for your perseverance with me, and you know my your perseverance with me trying to get the Zoom set up every week and so on. So thank you very much. It's deeply appreciated.
No, thank you, Scott. I really enjoy what we do. You know, work and normal life can sort of take over at times, but these episodes we record and get to talk about our great sport. You know, they can really take your mind off when anything bad in the world is happening. So I really enjoy this, and yeah, hopefully we'll keep going, because I think 2026 is going to be another tremendous year for snooker, hopefully, and we'll be there, I reckon, to talk about it some more.
Indeed, yeah. Yes, just on that, we'll let you know precisely when we'll be back in the new year. We haven't quite worked out precisely what we're going to do, but we will be back at least before the Masters to give you a preview of that. But we'll let you know precise details near the time.
Yes, I'll look forward to that one. The Masters always kicks off the year in fine style, but I think that is about us done for another week, Scott, and done for the year. So Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you all have a lovely festive season. Yourself too, Scott. And
thank you very much, Kelly. Same to yourself.
And we'll see you all next year.
Righto, everyone. Happy Christmas from me, and we'll see you, God willing, in the new year.
Bye, everyone.